Hello guys, I am here with a process video for the Get It Scrap creative team. I have done several assignments for them already in the past few months, but this is the first time I've done a process video. Today we were using the Farm Fresh style to inspire our storytelling. And back in the fall, I had purchased the entire Cartabella Welcome Home collection because I thought it was amazingly gorgeous. And when this came up as an assignment, I was like, let's do this. I am all over that one. So when I was thinking of stories, the one that came to mind at the top for me to use this collection was about my husband's grandmother's house. She had lived in Napa Valley, and sadly, a couple years ago, she had to move into a care home closer to her children. And so they had to sell that house. And in Napa Valley, her house butted up against a vineyard. It was so relaxing to drive up there. It was just sweet and nice to hang out at her house. We did a lot of that with his family. Lots of 4th of Julys, and sometimes just the 4 of us would go up for a day. And we have so many great memories, and especially my kids who just loved to climb her apple tree and pick her apples and some of the other fruit and play hide and seek and backyard games. And she had teddy bears and little teddy bear tea sets and stuff. So that is what I am doing today. So you can see here, as I've been just sort of auditioning things, that I printed my photos a non-standard 4x5 size, because you'll see here what I'm going to be doing. Fast forward here. I am trimming down the white space, and I am going to cut these into diamonds. And the diamond shape that I had, I think I saw a little template there, I had made fit 4x6, but I'm going to also back each of the diamonds with a pattern paper. So I printed and I'm cutting the photos smaller. And I had extended some of the photos. Like you can see my daughter sitting there. I don't know if you can tell. Her elbow down at the bottom as well. I used the content aware function in Photoshop to extend my canvases, and I knew I'd be cutting off sections, so it didn't matter that it copies like a section and pastes it further out, and so it's basically like duplicating, and that's why it looks a little weird when I printed it. But here you can see I fast forwarded. You didn't need to see me mark the midpoints of every single one and trim every single one, so I fast forwarded through that. But if you can see the final shots here, you don't see the I'm saying see a lot, sorry, that copy paste thing that the content aware does. It got trimmed off. Now, I know that was kind of a mouthful there. Let me know in the comments if you would be interested in seeing what the content aware function in Photoshop is, how you use it to extend a photo, okay? So again, I cut out some of the repetitive stuff here, and I have my triangles. Oh, I know what I did. So I had some, sorry, diamonds. I had some that were horizontal orientation and some vertical, and I was trying to make the horizontal work and it just didn't. So I re-edited and reprinted photos and retrimmed them. So these are all nice diamonds that are all the same orientation. So that template I had doesn't quite fit that aspect ratio of that diamond. So here I am, I cut a new template, and I am just auditioning photos some more, seeing how they would fit. And now I get to one of the most fun parts, and that's just auditioning stuff. I took out a bunch of the 6x6 papers, and those are easier to cut into than the 12x12 for sure, but I do use 12x12 here, and it didn't hurt too much to cut into the 12x12s because it was just looking so cute, you know? So you see here this one with the flowers. I keep trying and trying, and it's just too busy, and I don't know if it just doesn't fit what I wanted for the layout. So you'll see that one never makes it. But here I keep just auditioning. I didn't cut out a lot of this here because that's the whole point of a process video, right? You want to see our thinking process. I mean, every scrapbooker can make a layout just by looking at the photos and just, you know, being inspired that way. But the whole point of a process video is to see the thought process. So I made a lot of changes, you know, back and forth, just trying to figure out which papers I wanted to back each photo. So yeah. So the key here was that I wanted papers that contrasted with each photo. And then there's some papers that I liked more than others, like that stripe and the one with the little words that is around the little teddy bear. And you know, that's all that there is to it. It's just that some just didn't work as well as others. Or here, that one that I'd cut before, which was the same paper, but it was a 6x6. I felt like it was a little lost. I had cut it kind of small. Now, I've been cutting these by hand for that homemade feel. That's totally what I wanted to go for. But that one with the words, it's the same paper. It was just the 6x6 version, so everything's smaller, and then I'd cut it kind of tight, so it wasn't standing out as much, so I recut it. And I'm looking at my layout. This is pretty much this is how I end up leaving the photos placements. I was just fiddling with, since this is a 2-pager and it's cut in half, I wanted to make sure that the parts that were cut weren't anything significant. And here I am sort of shifting everything downward because I wanted everything to be coming off the page. Everything looks better that way. I never understood that when I was younger, but now I feel that aesthetic-wise, you want things going off the page more. It just lends it some sort of, I don't know, sometimes it lends it motion, and sometimes it just kind of frames better, in my opinion. And then I cut, I'm auditioning some papers to kind of fill in the blanks between the diamonds and cutting up all my pretty packages with the chipboard and the stickers and the ephemera, and just going through it all, picking some stuff I think might work. Some of it makes it on, some of it doesn't, as I change my mind. I should have shown you guys the collection itself. It's so cute. But, you know, you can just Google Cartabello Welcome Home and see all the cute things that are in the collection. So I'm auditioning things around, and just heads up, in a few seconds here, I will be at a point where I'm like, okay, well, I've tried a few things. This is good, but if I'm going to get serious about putting them down, I need to go sew these down. I wanted to sew borders around the frames, the mats on the photos. So off camera, I will cut in half what needs to be the photos and mats that need to be cut in half, take each individual one and sew around it, and trim the tails and put the washi in the back, all that good stuff that's tedious and you aren't interested in seeing, because that's just kind of behind the scenes process, right? Oh, there were so many goodies that it was so hard to choose on these. I tried to pick things that reminded me of her house, of course, and she had a lot of yellow, some flowers on her tablecloth, and flowers everywhere, and it was a gathering place, so that was a word that I wanted to use. This set came with that cute sorry. I'll tell you later. So here I am back. Everything's sewn down, cut, sewn down, and now I am in earnest putting all the little stickers and ephemera on top. And I love the collection. I love the icons on this collection because you've got textures within it too, like that ampersand is like a corrugated metal type of texture, and I mean not bumpy, but you know, the print, and that star is a wood texture, and they're clear. I love clear elements, especially these. They're clear but they're dark, so you have a little bit of that see-through feeling, but not I don't know, it layers nicely. And Farm Fresh, I put the little heart, you know, centered above one of the apples. That was fun. And, you know, she didn't have a farm, but she lived in the vineyards, basically. So this collection just was absolutely perfect. And I picked things like family together, joy, love this, gather. Here I am looking at it from my perspective because it's hard for me to see top down. Shifting things over that one because, you know, I'm going to cut it off. I want to make sure I got it in a spot that I like. And then the gather as well, you know, just sort of making sure. And I think as I trim here, you can see it and you can see the background with all the stitching. I think I remember I lost that little swoop for the G at one point. This is late at night and it took me forever to find the swoop. I think it was stuck to my clothing, which happens. Okay, so my husband's grandma is affectionately named Muffy, well, nicknamed Muffy, or Muff, and that's like Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet. So, you know, she's a sweet little old lady. She is a sweet little lady. So, a play on, you know, the whole nursery rhyme thing, to grandmother's house we go. So I put to Muffy's house we go as my title. And these are, I think these are Fancy Pants alphas, and I love that they're puffy and they're thin, so you can fit a long title pretty well. And here I am ruffling things up. I wanted that homespun feel, but I cut out a lot of that because, you know, you get the idea with me ruffling one or two. I always use my nails, and I always try to use like the end of my scissors or something, and it never works out. So I end up using my nails, which are always kind of beat up because of that. But I really love the stitched and ruffled look. So fiddling with this title, I think it was working on this layout and trying to get the title, you know, shifting this around a lot, that finally convinced me to buy the American Crafts thicker alphabet alignment guides. And they just came in like a couple days ago, and I'm dying to use them. I resisted buying them for a long time because I used to have alignment guides way back in the day, and I don't even know who made them. And you know, I used them and I was like, oh, it's okay. And then like the one that I used straight broke. And then when this came out and it had this little, they even had like an arched and a squiggle kind of alignment guide. And I'm like, that feels like we're going backwards, back to the time when we used to do shaped titles and shaped photos. So I'm like, no, I'm not going to get those. But working on this title, I'm like, you know what? I should just get it for the straight one. And it has an arched one, which I could have used in another layout too, that will come out later this month. So finally got those thicker alignment guides, and I'm excited to try them out. So here you can see that I felt that that corner was empty, and I auditioned a few patterns until I settled on what I liked. So I'm going to fill in that little, because that arrow was like, after I did the title, I found the arrow and I thought, yeah, that's good. But then that little corner was empty. So off camera, I stitched it And here you can see the threads being played with here. There's a couple threads I left hanging, and that one above my daughter's head I curled, and there's another one I think I snipped later. Okay, so I was building up this little title spot. That sticker that's like a hanging sign I thought was perfect. So I here just getting the decorations on first just to see how I want to place it. I was trying to use those cute little not wreath, but sprigs. They're chipboard, and it just wasn't working out for me. But the books worked out really well in that little triangle below. So now just checking out a few other things. I really am loving the chipboard on this set. I think I'm just loving chipboard in general. I used to hate it when it was unprinted chipboard. Like I could never figure out how to use it, but printed chipboard, oh, it's my jam. It's great. So I pull out more ephemera, and I've been using, so I ran out of my roller, so I was using this, it's a refill that I don't have the roller for, and I want to use up that adhesive, right? You don't want to waste adhesive. So I was using that for a lot of this layout. And it's very tedious. You can see here with those little guys, those little chipboard hearts, very tedious. I don't think I'm going to do that on camera again. All right, so I was going to mention, I went and on the computer typed up with Remington Noiseless font the journaling. And you saw me there unstick it from the back paper. I knew I was going to stick it on. I was going to have to use undo. I use undo every single layout. And that worked out really great after I made myself like a little journal spot and typed it up. So here it is back on the layout. And it reads, Teddies and Tea, Backyard Games, Punch and Lemonade, 4th of July, Picking Apples, Sunflowers and Hummels. She collected Hummel figurines. Figs and lemons, tree climbing, cousins, board games, hide and seek, and treasure hunts. So some of the things that we enjoyed at her house. I wanted something dimensional there. I didn't feel like those little sprigs worked, but I had another heart, but this one was in the sticker sheet rather than like the chipboard hearts that I have in 3 other places. So I'm making it into chipboard by just sticking it on some cardstock and cutting it out several times. And I've sped up several sections of this video quite a lot when it's repetitive like this, but I didn't speed this one up as much because after I put this on, I will be showing you some close-ups, and it was a really weird transition from really, really fast to basically real time. So here is what it looks like close up. I am not putting any of the still photos on this one. I'm just going to put those on my Instagram and on my blog. And this is it. I hope you enjoyed seeing this process video. I'm smitten with this 2-pager, and I hope to see you here soon again. Thanks a lot.